Good morning, welcome to House Mercantile. My name is Gavin and today I'm going to be showing you how I made these wooden whisks. Let's get started. The first thing I did was run over to my computer and create a file that my laser could use to cut out a master template. I didn't record the process on the computer because I know that I'm not very good at Illustrator and it took me a long time, so I didn't want to show that process. It was a learning experience for sure. Anyways, I made two of these. I could have used a better setting on the laser. It got hung up right here in two spots. You can see right there and in the middle. Nothing a little sanding didn't fix. On the second one, I did adjust my speed and it ran a lot smoother and didn't run into this issue. And they turned out pretty nice. I then used a little bit of super glue or CA glue to glue these two pieces together, put a little weight on it, and then I have my master template ready to go. Now I use these master templates to create secondary ones, and then I try not to ever touch the master one unless I absolutely have to create more sub templates. I'm just going to use some 3/4 MDF, mark all these up, and make multiple ones. That way when I do mess up, it doesn't send me back to the beginning on making more in the process. While I was at it, I went ahead and grabbed some scrap walnut, cherry, and maple and got them all traced out as well so I can take them all to the bandsaw and just continue on with the manufacturing process. At the bandsaw here, just give it a quick close cut as best I could to the line. Now we use that master template to create our secondary templates. A little bit of masking tape here, super glue, pressure, you know the routine. Now I had every step of this project planned out in my head except for this one spot, routing out the pattern. With the MDF here, it worked rather well because MDF doesn't really get the tear out. That grain wood does. I just kind of used my micro jig here and a clamp to keep my fingers out of the danger zone and worked my way slowly around. After getting all routed, I noticed that right here the tape folded over and the pattern bit followed over the tape, creating ridges. On this one I was just going to sand it out, but on future ones I'd cut down the tape. We'll see that here in a little bit. Now I auged out the center of the hole here, figuring that 1.25 inches would just do it for me. But here's my next mistake right here. I can't drill straight apparently freehand, and we got off-centered hole. I'll be fixing that here soon. I got a drill press on its way. But continuing on, I stepped down my Forstner bit to 1 inch, drilled it out as centered as I could, and brought it over to the router and just zipped it on through. And that one worked out for us. Next, we're going to try our first actual spoon cut. You can see that the material I'm using is 5/4, and this is my thought that I'll go ahead and route out the shape and then take it back over to the bandsaw and split it down the middle and end up getting 2 spoons and speeding up my process. So just using some more of that CA glue and some masking tape to get it all stuck together, just pressing down. Now we're going to trim off all that extra hanging over masking tape so we don't end up with those ridges. Just used a scraper blade to cut it all off and get it all cleaned up. Now I ditched the gripper for this because I didn't feel like I had very good control before, where using the 2 clamps I'd be able to get a good hold and have more control over what I was doing. Just moving them around in rotation to keep the piece moving along. I did snag it a little bit there, but it was not a problem. Trimming off all that tape also eliminated all the ridges that I received on my first template that had to be scrapped. And we were able to finish this up and start on drilling out the centerpiece for the whisk hole. Again, just 1 inch bit here to get through it, and then going to take it back over to the router to flush trim it till we get our even sides. Now I don't know why I went back to using the gripper to try and steer this thing, but it wasn't a good idea. I started cutting through this hole and I got snagged and blocked somehow. I think the gripper was actually hitting something on the table that was not flush, but I get stuck right there a few times before finally actually getting it to go all the way around. And we go back to the bandsaw to get these split in half. I used a makeshift fence out of some extra stock that I had lying around because my actual fence on this isn't the best and it's a little too tall for what I wanted. After we got it split in half, My fingers start getting kind of cold, so don't yell at me too much for putting on the gloves on the router. I know it's a bad idea, but I made sure to keep my gloved hands away from the router bit there, which is a 3/16 roundover bit from Diablo on my M18 Milwaukee router. I just have it clamped to the side of my table saw fence. That way I didn't have to change out the bit on the table router. I love how routing something really puts the shape and defines an object. These turned out well. It did end up with a few ridges on there from that tape, but nothing the sander, as in myself, couldn't take care of. Now, I started with some 80 grit to get all those ridges that I had buffed out and sanded, and whatever burn marks that I had before dropping down to 120 or 180. I jumped between the two for the next step, then 220 and 400. This was a real workout and rough on my hands, trying to get these all sanded out. I'm brainstorming different ideas on how to get these sanded. I did eventually, after making a few of these, clamp my orbital sander down in a vise and just kind of ran them all over that. I think I recorded that process. I can't remember. I can't find the file. To wrap it up, I use the mineral oil and beeswax mixture that I use on my cutting boards on these. It's a food safe option, and it really gives it a shine and makes these stand out. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. It'll help me out tremendously. If you want one of these wooden whisks, they're available on my website, housemercantile.com. All the social media links and tools and all that stuff will be down in the description. And if you want the laser file for this, go ahead and send me a message with your email in it, and I'll get it sent over for you for free. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.